All right. Welcome, folks, to today's live stream. This is a very big news day. Lots of going ons in the market. So, welcome, ladies and genitals. This is a jam-packed live stream. We have much to discuss. I see Jared still saying ETH is about to explode. I sure hope so, Jared. It's looking good. Looking good, Jared. All right. Also, trust in myself always. Says, what up, bro? I'm still trying to escape Chicago. I need this bull run. I feel you. I'm sympathetic. There's a difference between empathetic and sympathetic. I forget the distinction. I'm one of those. So let's see. What are you guys saying here? Hope all you guys are having a good enough of a day. This is a big news day. We usually live stream a little bit earlier. Apologies for missing an earlier live stream, although we're trying to make up for it by bringing a bunch of important news for you guys today here. So let's wait for some people to trickle in, and we'll definitely get going here. So, folks, I don't know if you guys caught Messin put out a video earlier today, which was very good to see. He seemed healthy. He seemed like he was in good spirits. He seemed hydrated, and that's something I've been trying to stress to him, which is the importance of hydration, folks. And we all know, it's pretty clear. It should go without saying that I'm vastly more hydrated than Messin. He may try to make you think otherwise. Just be aware. Just be on guard, folks. That Messin, he tries to front like he's more hydrated than me. But at the end of the day, folks, it's like we all pretty clearly understand who's more well hydrated, and it's clearly myself. So, welcome to the live stream, everyone. Let's start talking about the news, because there's some very big news, some very big goings on, and so let's finally delve into it. We have some very substantial news. A $55 billion hedge fund is planning to move into cryptocurrency. Marshall Wace, this hedge fund, has stated that they will be looking to buy stake into digital finance companies that are already in the latter stages of their development. Stablecoin infrastructure is also a particular focus for them. That's very interesting. I wonder if they could, participate in something like Curve Finance, maybe something like Aave. We'll see. But folks, bottom line is, whales are here. Whales are buying. Whales are in the space. So don't let them fool you that, whether we correct further or not, adoption is going in one direction. Every day, every week, we bring you guys more and more news stories talking about the state of adoption and the increased rate of adoption. So one investment manager says that their interest group claimed that the hedge fund plans to invest over 7% of their total holdings in cryptocurrency over the next 5 years. That is pretty substantial. So we also got to be aware that these people, they're not going to buy in, they're not just going to FOMO in all at once, right? It's going to take several years for the institutions to slowly start to trickle in. But again, we're seeing those signs of them coming into the market, which is a very good sign. Let's bring it back to the Bitcoin price action here, folks, because there's some critical goings on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking out from a wedge pattern, and very soon here, we're going to decide what I think will be the next week's of worth of price action, whatever way we break out of this thing. If we start to lose, 34,000, then we're probably going to retest 33,300. If that doesn't hold, then we're going to test 33,000, and then 31,000, then 29,000. So this is super critical crunch time. If we break out bullishly, we're probably going to test the 50 daily simple moving average, which is currently at 36,000. Folks, if we flip that moving average from resistance into support, that is an absolutely huge deal. We're bound to break out any moment. Probably within the live stream, we might very well break out, depending how long we go here. So folks, if you're watching the live stream, definitely hit that like button so more people can watch the live stream, because this is absolutely critical. We might even break out during the live stream, so we'll see how that goes. But just be aware, Bitcoin is still forming this wedge, and is likely to break out within the next 24 hours, if not during this live stream. Now, if we go back to Bitcoin over here, this is not Bitcoin. Uh-oh. Okay, I think. TradingView sometimes does this thing where it'll refresh your chart and it'll like remove everything I prepared. So I really hope it didn't just do that, because I had a bunch of charts prepared. So I really hope it didn't just refresh all these charts. That would really suck. But folks, look, very interesting goings on with the price action. Before we delve into some of this critical news, and you know, I think I should preface what's going on with Bitcoin before we really delve into this news here. We have some very big news with Bitcoin specifically. We have a top and bottom, well, really bottom cycle indicator flashing what could be interpreted as a buy signal. Very, very big news. Very substantial news with Ethereum as well. So lots of news to get into. But before we do, let's take a second to really appreciate our indicators and our price action. We are running up against this resistance trend line on the daily RSI. And there's different ways to draw this, but it all pretty much means the same thing here, folks. We have been respecting this trend line as a resistance all throughout the cycle. Really the cycle. I mean, ever since January, we've been respecting this resistance trend line. And so I think in terms of timing, when Bitcoin is going to recover and impulse to the upside, I think it's when we see bullish divergence from this resistance trend line. And I'm starting to see big YouTubers mention it. That's great. I've been seeing this for weeks, if not months on end. And folks, keep this in mind. This is absolutely critical, because when it happens, you're going to hear everyone and their mother talking about this. So I've been telling you guys this for weeks and months before it happens. As soon as we break above this red trend line on the daily RSI, that is when Bitcoin is ready to take off, in my opinion, folks. And if we go to the weekly over here, just to update ourselves on the state of Bitcoin's weekly indicators, we are looking bullish. The MACD, the histogram, continues to move upwards, signaling a bullish trend reversal. The weighted MACD, which is a leading indicator for the regular MACD, has had a bullish crossover in the oversold region. Stochastic RSI, all the way in the oversold region, having had a bullish crossover. Stochastic RSI, great for identifying shifts in trends. Guys, the weekly looks bullish. The daily looks, actually, the daily does not look strong. What I would say with the daily is that a break above that resistance trend line would, I think, lead us to impulse to the upside. So watch out for that daily. And if we go back to maybe the shorter time frames, hourly here, looking okay, looking strong. If we go to the 4 hour here, 4 hour is starting to look strong. MACD seems like it wants to have a bullish crossover. RSI is just chilling, not doing anything dramatic, pretty much in the middle. And then stochastic RSI is seemingly having a bullish crossover. So, I mean, 4 hour looks like it would, I would wager that based off the 4 hour and the 1, that we're likely than not to break to the upside. But we still have to wait out. Now, one thing we got to wait out for, folks, is we got to wait out for volume. Volume is absolutely key. Because if we have a breakout and we don't have volume, like in this case here, say we broke above our trend line here, that was acting as resistance, but the volume was basically non-existent, super low, and that led to a false breakout, a bull trap. So we want to see a breakout with increased volume. See, this breakout here actually had some more volume than the first breakout. So whenever we see a breakout with volume, that's what we want to see. So for the next couple of hours here, we get a breakout with volume. Very, very good sign to see. So that's the price action with Bitcoin. Now let's start talking about some of these major news stories with Bitcoin here. So we have Bitcoin spot exchanges, the outflow dramatically increasing, suggesting that people are ready to hodl their Bitcoin. As we can see here, based off this chart here, there's been a recent sudden dramatic spike in spot exchange outflow of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is leaving exchanges. Very, very interesting to see. Hopefully we can get a little bit more confirmation of that. Hopefully that translates to the Bitcoin held on exchanges. If we see this number continue to move down, or this level continue to move down, that is bullish confirmation. If we want this to go down, because the less Bitcoin on exchanges, The less selling pressure, the less supply, greater demand, price goes up. So that's what we've got to look out for. Now, folks, massive news story I want to bring you guys. We have a cycle indicator flashing a bottom signal. Folks, I want to bring you guys' attention to the Bitcoin difficulty ribbon indicator. This essentially just takes a bunch of different moving averages that calculates Bitcoin mining difficulty, and whenever we have crossovers, it typically has signaled miner capitulation. And the last time we've seen crossovers such as this was the bottom of the 2018 bear market, and right around the most recent halving, and also when the global big cough first hit back in March 2020. So the fact that miners are capitulating to the same extent or to a similar extent as to the bottom of a bear market in the the previous halving, and when the global disease first hit, is extremely telling. Now, no one indicator is the end all be all. But what's interesting is that we're not just getting one indicator, we're getting several indicators. I mean, let me see if I have it pulled up here, but the Puel multiple, which is another kind of cycle indicator here for Bitcoin, is also flashing a buy signal. Now, the things that are interesting about these two indicators is that they're both track mining and hash rate, so they're very sensitive to that. And so the fact that miners are capitulating could signal a bottom. Now, we're also seeing that paired with the fact that we're seeing wallets with 110k Bitcoin begin to accumulate. This starts to look very interesting. You pair this with the weekly bullish divergence, super interesting. So folks, we're seeing a picture, we're seeing a story being told here that the bull run may come back, and we're seeing those signs, we're seeing that evidence. So what do we have to look out for to seek greater clarity, to get a better understanding of what's going on and how to navigate these markets? Folks, what we need is confirmation. Because we're seeing plenty of nice signs, plenty of nice evidence that Bitcoin could be recovering, that the bull market may be coming back. Like, the buddy who's trying to get out of Chicago, I mean, I feel you. And if you want to know if you have a better chance of getting out of Chicago, what you need to look out for is confirmation. And I believe I've identified a few very key inflection points that each one of these major resistance levels that we get above, it makes it more likely that the rally can continue. Because right now, folks, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin is bearish. We are in a bear trend. We're still doing nothing but lower highs, lower lows, breaking critical support. Bitcoin is in a bear trend. So, for us to make an argument that we have broken the bearish price structure and the bull run can continue happily along to over 100,000 and beyond with Bitcoin, then we need to start breaking critical layers of resistance into support. And each layer we break through makes it more likely that we've broken the bearish price structure. So, number one, 50 daily simple moving average, critically price reactive moving average, has previously established itself as very critical as an inflection point all throughout Bitcoin's major corrections throughout the parabolic rally. It is held as support. Here it held as support. Here it held as support. We never dropped below it throughout the bull run, or the first leg of the bull run. And the first time we did and got daily candles closing below it, it was the beginning of the massive sell-off. Even if we look back at 2017, even in 2017, this was a critical moving average to look out for. Here it held as support, here support, here support, here support. As soon as we broke below it within this green box, came back up to retest it, got rejected, massive sell-off beginning of the bear market. So now there's two goddamn cycles where this moving average has proved to us that it's extremely relevant. So if we get back above this white line, which has previously been established as very price reactive and as an inflection point, I believe that is the first major layer of resistance we have to get through to start making the argument confidently that we are indeed entering a bull trend, that the price is going to go up. That is the first major layer. That moving average is currently sitting right at $36,000. So a Bitcoin come tomorrow, if we all of a sudden see a Bitcoin above $36,000, that's a very good sign. If we can get daily candles closing above $36,000, very good sign. Next major resistance level, 200 EMA on the daily. Here resistance as well. Here's support. Super critical, high time frame moving average. We need to get above this goddamn thing, folks. We need to get above this thing. Once we get a daily candle or two closing above this thing, then we could test these previous peaks here. And if we can get above that goddamn blue line, then we can test these previous peaks and hopefully make a higher high. So let's say we're now, Bitcoin's above these two moving averages and we're at 41,000. We're somewhere here. At that point, we would have flipped two major high time frame resistance levels into support and put in a higher high. And in that case, we could start to argue that we have broken the bearish price structure based off confirmation and evidence, and therefore it's more likely the bull run can continue. Ultimately, I think the kind of final last stand that we need to look out for to understand if Bitcoin's in a bull market or not, we need to get above this red trend line from all-time high, next lower high. If we break out, come back down, retest it, hold it as support, then the bull trend can continue happily along its way. And so folks, these are the major layers of resistance that we need to get above if we want the bull run to continue. And until we get above these things, we are not in a bull run, folks. So while this is great news, we still need to wait out for Bitcoin, because unfortunately, Bitcoin does indeed lead the market. So that's what's going on with Bitcoin. Let's start talking about Ethereum, because Ethereum is very interesting as well. So Ethereum, I love Ethereum. Ethereum is holding up pretty goddamn well, actually better than Bitcoin. I mean, Ethereum's above its 200 daily EMA and SMA. Bitcoin is not. Ethereum is holding up pretty well. We now got news just the other day that we broke to you guys that the London hard fork, which brings EIP 1559, making Ethereum deflationary and harder money than Bitcoin, is coming August 4th. Now that is kind of like a tentative date. It could be pushed back a couple weeks. But bottom line, either August 4th or sometime in August, we will have major improvements coming to Ethereum. And I do believe that's why it's holding up pretty well. So if Bitcoin could just move sideways or recover, I think Ethereum is very well positioned to start to recover. Now, folks, Ethereum has been reacting perfectly off the moving average I've been talking about for weeks as absolutely critical to maintain. That being the 21 EMA in the 6 hour. As long as Ethereum's above this thing, Ethereum is short-term bullish. Now, this blue line here, where we've been finding rejection, is the 200 EMA on the 10 hour. If Ethereum can get above that, basically 2400, then Ethereum is bullish. But let's talk about some major news stories with Ethereum. For the first time in history, a Swiss bank has confirmed that they will now allow their clients to participate in Ethereum 2.0 staking. This is crazy. A bank is providing services for their clients to be involved in Ethereum staking. That's insane. I mean, for Bunny, for Trust, who was saying he's from Chicago. I mean, if you're from Chicago, you probably experience some, similar problems that us Canadians experience, where oftentimes banks will stop you from buying crypto, will not allow you to make a transaction to a crypto platform. So, I mean, guys, the fact that we now see a Swiss bank providing services for Ethereum is a very, very big deal. It speaks towards where this market is going. And folks, there's been a lot of retail leaving this market, but that's very unfortunate, because these are the times where you have to be paying the most attention, because what's happening right now with this boring sideways price action, faking everybody out, what's happening next? We have bullish stories, we have bear stories. Nobody really knows what's happening. But this boring, confusing price action is what will decide the next 6 months of price action. This is where you have to pay the most attention, because if we start to break above these critical layers, then the bull run can continue maybe to the end of the year. But if we start to get daily candles closing below 30,000, 29,000, then it starts to look like a breakdown from macro head and shoulders, and we could enter an extended bear market. So this is crunch time. This is make it or break it territory. This is the time to be paying the most attention, folks. So make sure you like and subscribe. I see the authorities saying, is that a new haircut? Man, keep dripping today. Well, I appreciate that. And where I'm living, the barbers, everything was shut down. So I couldn't even get a haircut for months. So that's why I was starting to look a bit homeless or a bit unhoused. I believe that is kind of touchy. for some people nowadays. I believe they're trying to say unhoused now. So I do start to look a bit unhoused when I don't get a haircut. So I'm very happy that I look a little less unhoused, and thank you for the kind words. All right, so let's see what else we gotta look at here, folks. So one other major thing we gotta consider, which I don't have pulled up now, but that's okay. Don't freak out. Don't you go FOMOing or FUDing. If you do go FOMOing or FUDing or panic selling, do it with our bybit link. Link for that is down in the description below. I mean, come on, guys, come on. If you watch the show, you know how I've been calling the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing to the T. I mean, we've been calling everything to the T. I mean, but okay, but with that being said, just putting my own ego aside, Ethereum has been playing out exactly the way I've been describing, where we broke down from an established base of support, the bulls came back in charge, we broke above resistance, came back down to retest it, held it as support, and so now we're probably going to retest the upper extremity of our descending triangle slash wedge slash trend line here. So bottom line is here, folks, I think the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing has some room to the upside, which is likely to benefit Ethereum in the short term. And so Ethereum might retest 2400. But if the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing breaks above this resistance right here, then Ethereum has a very good chance of getting above 2400. And if ETH gets above 2400, then folks, it's hard to say we're in a bear market if ETH starts. Because look, what is Ethereum doing right now? Ethereum is forming a giant macro descending triangle, breaking out, putting in higher highs and higher lows. So if we get to 2400, then we can test these highs here at 2900. And if we test those highs at 2900 and put in a higher high, then at that point you can make a compelling argument that we've broken the bearish price structure. And if Ethereum is putting in higher highs and higher lows, having bullish breakouts, then it's really hard to say that we're entering a bear market. So, folks, this is absolute crunch time. And this is why price action is so key to follow. Price action tells you a story. Looking at this Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, this tells me we have more room to the upside, which tells me Ethereum could test 2400, that 200 EMA on the 10 hour. And if we can test that 200 EMA on the 10 hour, then so let me maybe perhaps describe this a bit better. So let me remove some of this stuff. So given that we have on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing some room to the upside, I do believe that allows Ethereum to test 2400. And if on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing we break out bullishly, come back down, retest it, and have a bullish retest, in that case the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing has more room to the upside. And so if this impulse to test resistance allows Ethereum to test 2400, then a bullish breakout on the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing allows Ethereum to get above 2400. And if Ethereum can get above 2400, then we can test previously established resistance here at 2900. And if we can test 2900, then we can break above. And if we break above, we make a higher high. And if we make a higher high, then in that case, it's arguable that we're no longer in a bear trend. That's why you got to follow price action. Price action tells a story, an untold story. So folks, super, super interesting critical times. If you like the live stream, if you like the info, if you like the hair, if you like the bybit link, like and subscribe 100%. Now, let's start talking about the DeFi ecosystem, because right now, DeFi is endlessly interesting. We have Aave now coming out with their platform called Aave Pro, which is specifically geared to institutions, allowing institutions to get involved in crypto through KYC. It's a permission platform. They're currently providing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Aave, and USDC staking services. So very, very good to see, folks. These institutions are coming in with their millions and their billions and their trillions. Every day, every week, we bring you guys a new news story. This bank is getting in crypto. This hedge fund is getting in crypto. This country is getting in crypto. How many weeks can we bring you guys stories like this before that eventually reflects in price action? Something you got to think about. And if these institutions are getting in, eventually they're going to start to get into DeFi. Isn't it interesting that we see here that one of their these people's investment managers said specifically that they're interested in stablecoin infrastructure? What does that mean? That means DeFi. That means yield farming. That means liquidity providing. That means Aave. That means DeFi. That means Uniswap. That means Curve Finance. And so, folks, looking at the blue chip DeFi plays right now, I think will act as a leading indicator for the rest of DeFi and the rest of the altcoin market. Uniswap, giant blue chip when it comes to DeFi, is breaking out bullishly from a bit of an ascending triangle here, breaking above, now currently holding previous resistance onto support. We're above the 200 daily EMA. We're above the daily 20 EMA. So daily 20 EMA and 200 daily EMA, both above, acting as support. As long as we maintain above that, Uniswap has upside. Same with synthetics here, folks. An oldie but a goodie. I started talking about synthetics back when it was around $4 or $5. $4 or $5 is when I started talking about synthetics, and we crashed to exactly that region. And folks, I want to apologize for not bringing this more to you guys' attention, because personally, when we dropped below our channel here, I was like, this thing's kind of donezo. But that's exactly what the market and the whales and the manipulators wanted us to think, because synthetics is the leader in the derivatives niche. Derivatives are essentially fancy trading instruments. And so basically, I think a bet on synthetics is a bet that institutions will bring in their money and use derivatives, because in the legacy markets, derivatives is far larger than the trading of the underlying assets. Crypto, it's the exact opposite. So if crypto itself is undervalued, but derivatives could be larger than trading of the underlying assets, so then you have undervalued on top of undervalued. And so synthetics, I love it because it tells a story. It tells a story of whales coming in, dropping us below support, shaking people out, stopping people out, and then immediately buying up the dip. Look at this peak of volume, folks. Shit tons of volume coming in. So synthetics here. Now, there's multiple ways to draw support and resistance with synthetics. Ultimately, I think what we got to do is start getting above moving averages on the daily here. So this 20 EMA on the daily, hopefully you guys can see this. It's this little red line. I'll try and make it bigger so you guys can see this. Has been acting as resistance throughout the recent downtrend. So see, throughout this leg down, here it held as resistance. Now we're above it. Very good to see. So for me, if we can flip to 618, then we can flip a major fib level plus the 200 daily EMA. So basically what I'm saying here, if we can get above $13, then we can test this red channel trend line, and we could break above. So getting daily candles closing above, I'd say $12.80, $13 means that synthetics can see a lot more bullish continuation. Now, I've been doing this, paper portfolio, starting with $5,000, building a paper portfolio for the long term. I'm highly tempted to buy the dip on synthetics, although keyword here is buying the dip. Folks, you do not want to chase green. You want to buy support, not resistance. You want to buy red, not green. Given that this market is still precarious and Bitcoin still hasn't, picked a direction yet, it's still in the middle of breaking out. Buying right now is super, super risky because the macro direction, the macro market direction is not clear. There's reasons to be bullish, there's reasons to be bearish, and so how do we know what's really going on? How do you sort through the bullshit? Ultimately, price action is key. Price will tell you what's more and less likely. Getting above these moving averages, each one we do makes it more likely that the uptrend will continue. And breaking below each one of these critical support levels that I've previously mentioned, 33,000, 33,300, 31,000, basically each one of these previous lows makes it more likely that the downtrend can continue. So understanding how we react off these major support and resistance levels tells us what is more and less probable. Follow price action, fuck your feelings and your intuitions. Price action is what matters. So come back to these DeFi plays. Aave, another absolute monster when it comes to DeFi. Another play that I highly regret not buying more on the dip, especially for my paper portfolio, because I did buy some during the dip, but not as much as I'd like. And also, folks, just to show you guys what I mean by buying support. So this is where I bought Aave, and I'll show you guys why. So here we can clearly see that there's a zone of resistance. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 daily candle wicks constantly getting rejected off the same region here, just basically 220 to about 215 constant resistance. Except here, Aave broke above that previously established resistance, but then we came back down and retested it over here. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 daily candles that respected previous resistance, now turned into support. So see this region that was previously resistance, now that we broke above it, came back and retested it, then access support. So I bought that support because we broke above the region and we came back down to retest it and held it. So I bought it around 220, and so so far pretty good swing trade. Although this portfolio is kind of long-term investing, not necessarily swing trading. But bottom line is, that's what I'm trying to say in terms of a good entry. You want to buy a retest. You want to buy support. You don't want to buy a pump. You don't want to buy resistance. You want to buy a pullback. You want to buy support. Not financial advice, but just my approach. Now, Aave, absolute monster when it comes to DeFi. Again, they recently came out with Aave Pro, which will allow, which is geared towards institutional adoption and a permission protocol. Folks, I think this is something on the scale of when Matic rebranded to Polygon. This is absolutely giant news for Aave, because number one, it's telling us that the institutions have a green light on Aave. Hey, we're cool with this. And number two, it's folks, like it's just a stupidly bullish thing. It's a massively bullish catalyst for Aave, massively widening its potential use case and therefore the potential money flowing within its protocol. So when Aave dips back, I think probably to maybe this blue line here, the 100 EMA on the is this the 100 EMA? I believe it is. No, what is this? 200 EMA? Give me a second here, folks. Yeah, no, okay, this is 200 EMA. Yeah, 200 EMA on the 10 hour. Sorry, folks. So many EMAs, so many time frames. This blue line is the 200 EMA on the daily. I think if Aave comes back down to retest this thing, maybe retest the 618. We have not had a retest of the 200 daily EMA. I would probably buy more Aave there at around maybe 290 to about 285. So from 280 to 290 is probably where I'm going to be adding some more Aave to my paper portfolio, and maybe in real life as well. So that's what I'm looking out for with Aave. Ultimately, folks, I bring up Uniswap, I bring up Synthetics, I bring up Aave, because these are all three blue chips, high cap DeFi plays. And if we start to see continued bullish momentum with these three picks, that's eventually going to continue to translate to lower cap DeFi and altcoins. So healthy high caps means the rest of the market can continue to recover. So understanding and following how these protocols play over the next couple days and weeks is going to be absolutely critical. Because yes, folks, right now the market's a little boring. We're kind of doing side-based price action. But what that actually means is just the market's deciding what the next 6 months are going to look like. So this is absolutely critical times, folks. Do not turn off, do not shut off. Also, I want to let you guys know that Chainlink is breaking out as we speak from a several month long descending channel here. So from May, Chainlink has been forming this massive macro descending triangle, and we are now breaking out bullishly. But we have the 618 and previously established price reactive zone and psychological zone of the $20 acting as resistance. So I think it's pretty clear what's going on with Chainlink, where we're seeing some high caps start to pump. We're seeing Ethereum doing okay. Chainlink is a high cap. So if Chainlink breaks above $20, comes back down to retest it, then the upside potential for Chainlink is substantial. In that case, I think we're going to test $25, $26, 200 daily EMA over here at kind of $25, $26. So folks, we flip, $20, get a daily candle closing above $20. Then I mean, even as a trade, again, not financial advice, Chainlink looks very, very interesting. So let's say you enter about 2040. I mean, you could be looking at a 22% to the upside, and in terms of stop loss below the breakout point, 11% stop loss. So I mean, not the best risk to reward ratio. You're essentially looking at a 2% RR ratio, which not the best, not the worst. It's basically you're risking 11% to make 22%. Okay, not the worst trade setup I've ever seen in my life. Again, putting a stop loss below the breakout, below volume, and taking profit around the 200 EMA on the daily. I mean, that is a reasonable trade setup in my opinion. So, I mean, if we retest the 20, if we break above $20, come back down and retest the whole lot of support, I'm going to be adding more Chainlink to my paper portfolio in that case. But folks, wait out. Wait out, do not FOMO. If you're going to FOMO, check out our bybit link for that in the description below. Mikey's saying a lot. What's Mikey saying? He's saying Meta Hero, guys, just dropped 70 mil, but we about to shoot up on BTC. Brandon, check BTC. All right, I'll check BTC. Let's see. Yeah, it hasn't broken out yet, but we're going to break out soon. Very soon here, we're going to break out, because we're forming this wedge pattern. All right. And also, we've got to be very careful about what Bitcoin's doing right now, because we previously formed a similar wedge pattern, had a false breakout, and then proceeded to collapse into nothingness. So, I mean, having these false breakouts is a little concerning. Again, folks, we want to see a breakout with volume. A breakout with no volume is a very precarious breakout. We want to see that volume, and hopefully we want to see pumpage during the weekdays. So let's say we do break out. I think we're probably going to impulse to test this 50 daily SMA. If we can break above, come back down to retest it, folks, at that point, you're going to start to hear me change my tune and start to be a lot more confident about the state of this market. So yeah, Bitcoin still has not broken out yet. So we still have to wait for that breakout. So let's take a look at my portfolio, just give you guys a bit of a portfolio update here. So I have, unfortunately, been failing to follow my own advice and wait for more bullish confirmation. I just could not avoid the discounts we're seeing in this market. I have been buying the dip for my paper portfolio. For those who don't know, me and Messin, we both run this channel. We're both creating a paper portfolio from scratch. This portfolio is geared towards long-term investing from this until the end of this year, or whenever we feel like it. We're both going to buy and sell at our own pace on our own timing. And it's kind of a friendly competition between me and Messin to see whose portfolio can outperform who. So we'll periodically give you guys some updates on our portfolio, what we're buying and why, what we're selling and why. It's kind of a fun competition between me and Messin to see whose portfolio will outperform whose over long term. And just to start a little bit of brag for a second here. I mean, folks, my portfolio is up $130. I ain't saying anything. I'm just saying. But look, Ethereum still my number one hold. I think I want to get more vechain and chainlink on a dip. Right now, folks, I think, because one criticism of my portfolio is that I'm highly diversified. And there are costs to that, which you miss out on returns if one project in particular pumps. If you're too highly diversified, you miss out on those returns. So, for example, Alpha Finance pumps 64%. But because I have, a shit ton of coins, I could have made a lot more if I was more heavily into that. So I do believe that is a valid criticism. Ultimately, it is a decision at the end of the day how you form a portfolio. I kind of like a lot of altcoins, so I am okay with being a bit diversified. But I do think with the remaining, $630 I have, I will just be adding more to maybe my Chainlink, Terra, existing bags, Decenter. If I can get some more Decenter on a dip, absolutely buying that. Same with Aave on a dip. Theta Network, I might even buy some more. It's currently down 7% from when I bought in. Thernity Chain, some NFT plays. I think I need one more NFT play, guys, because right now I only have Thernity and Super Farming, kind of Theta in terms of NFTs, and Audius is an NFTs too. But the only two protocols that are like hardcore NFTs is Super Farm and Thernity Chain. I think I could add like a flow or an engine in there somewhere. And I also want to leave some money out for maybe Cardano DeFi, Kusama DeFi. I actually participated, for those who don't know, in the parachain auctions, the Kusama parachain auctions with Korora, which is a DeFi hub for Korora. So once that project goes out, I'm going to wait. Hopefully, I'll have some stablecoins left and buy some of that Korora, because Kusama DeFi with parachains going live, I think is super, super compelling. So that's one of the things I'm looking out for. Stephen Austin saying, Brandon, any thoughts on DOT? It seems underperforming the other big caps. It used to do pretty well. Yeah, let's take a look. No, I agree. It is severely underperforming. And also the authority saying no Economy. I don't know, man. I've been hearing some good news about Economy, and it's been pumping. I don't want to buy a pump. Like, I don't want to chase something with good news. Like, Economy has been apparently they're partnering with Marvel to put out exclusive NFTs. Lots of great news, which is great, but I don't want to buy a pump. I just don't. I just can't feel like buying a pump right now. So no Economy for the moment, but let's take a look at Polkadot. So I do believe Polkadot is quite undervalued. And once those Polkadot parachain auctions begin, I don't know when they'll begin. The Kusama ones are starting, but the Polkadot ones may still be quite a ways away. But if and when that begins, that will definitely be a bullish catalyst for Polkadot. Ultimately, I do think Polkadot is rather undervalued and rather underperforming. It's kind of unexciting. So I'm trying to see. So let me do a few things here. So Polkadot is holding the 786 macro Fibonacci retracement from the bottom of the all-time high, which is good to see. So what I'm trying to say here is we basically do not want to put in a lower low. We don't want to lose $13. We don't want to lose $12. If we do, that is extremely no bueno. Because if we lose that, not only could we dump more, but if we lose 12, 13, if we put in new lower lows, then we could also continue to correct and consolidate for a long, for a lot longer. It's not just the percentage that we could go down, but it's also the time that we would go down and consolidate if we start to put in lower lows. So it's critical that we do not. Now, ultimately, Polkadot is up against resistance right now with this volume in the sideways moving price action. So we got to get above, $16, $16.50. So if we can start to flip basically $17 from resistance into support, basically put in kind of a higher high above this region where we've been finding rejection, I think that's our first cue that Polkadot's ready to take off. So see here, constantly getting daily candles getting rejected off the exact same place, which just so happens to perfectly coincide with volume and sideways moving price action. So, and also this 20 daily EMA, which I hope you guys can see. I'll widen it here. Just give me a second. I'll make this more visible because I think from your guys' end, you can't really see it. So let me just take a second here to make this more visible. You guys can actually see what I'm talking about. Okay, so actually, I do one more left. So yeah, all right. So this red line, 20 EMA on the daily, it's been holding as resistance all throughout the downtrend. It's exactly where the current resistance is. So we have multiple layers of resistance directly above us. Previously established sideways moving price action, volume, and this moving average. So clear, strong resistance, all clustering in one place. We've been doing nothing but down. So if we break above this, come back down and retest it, hold it as support, then we can test this trend line here. Let me make this into a red trend line representing resistance from this peak here to this one here. And if we just extend that, we could arguably be forming some kind of macro descending triangle. And so I think there's two major layers of resistance that we need to get above to see bullish continuation. This 20 EMA basically get above $17. Start getting daily candles closing above $17, then we can test this resistance red trend line from the tops of these wicks. Just extend that like it'd be resistance. If we can get above this thing, we can flip the 618. And if we start flipping, if in that case, if we flip that 618, flip that red trend line, we would then flip two major resistance levels into support. And in that case, we could start to make an argument that we're no longer in a bear trend because we had two layers of bullish divergence and bullish breakouts, and therefore we could see, extended price action to the upside. So, getting above $20 is critical. Once Polkadot starts to get daily candles closing above $20, then Polkadot starts to look a lot more short-term bullish. So I do believe Polkadot over long term is undervalued, and $20 is that critical inflection point. I want to see Polkadot above 20. Once it gets above 20, it starts to look a lot more bullish. So DVS is saying that the house is pixelating, the matrix is glitching. It is indeed. I do believe that the matrix is glitching for two reasons. I have a fan that is causing the matrix to move behind me. I also have very shitty lighting around me, which I'm trying to fix. I bought a light that is on the way, so hopefully I will look a lot less like red and pink. Like I look like I've been drinking or something. Like I feel like I look really red. So folks, again, this low budget operation, we're slowly making more improvements over time, gradually. So we're definitely working on bringing some improvements. Hopefully this light that's ordered and on the way will stop the matrix from glitching. I appreciate you bringing this up. It is a very valid concern. So Steven is saying that is 100% validates my charts, so it's good to hear. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, man, and you know what? It's always great to hear a different perspective. I always love listening to other TA guys because you'll always either get validation or get a different perspective, because everyone does TA differently. Everyone looks at different stuff. There's so many ways to do TA. Some people focus on Elliott wave theory. Some people focus on clouds. Some people focus on moving averages. Some people focus on Fibonacci lines. Some people focus on trend lines. Some people focus on there's so many different perspectives, and so I always love hearing different perspectives. So appreciate the kind words. So folks, that's pretty much most of what I had prepared. So definitely like and subscribe, and if you like what we do, want to support us, become a VIP Discord member. You get access to our Patreon. Go click on it right now because we're constantly adding a shit ton of value to our Patreon group. Tons of staking resources in there, and we're always talking about what degen low cap gem we're getting into. I currently have two that I'm exploring the idea of getting into, so we're probably going to give our members an update on these two projects in the near future. So if you guys want to hear what we're buying, the low cap gems, our entries, all the staking, yield farming, and liquidity providing opportunities we're taking advantage of, our VIP Discord members find out first, so you get access to our Patreon. Link for that is down in the description below if you want to support us and check that out. That's pretty much what I had on my end here, folks. So if there's no glaring questions, I think I'll let you go. And because we have another live stream for the morning, and again, I can't go too late here. I gotta start getting up more early, so I'm gonna wrap it up here on mine, folks. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching. Stay hydrated. You do not want to be dehydrated like Messin. Stay hydrated, stay cool, and FOMO with our Bible.